Well, good morning. Today is another National Park Mission Day. It's going to be 7 of 8 on our Alaska trip. Today, we take on Lake Clark using Lake Clark Air. That means we leave Wilma behind, but we go find some excitement.
Like many areas in Alaska, Lake Clark is not on the road system and travel takes place by small plane. Fixed-wing aircraft are allowed to land on all suitable lakes, rivers, beaches, gravel bars, and open ground within the park. However, if staying overnight, your accommodations will likely determine who you fly with. We stayed at the Farm Lodge, which is owned by the same folks as Lake Clark Air.
Well, we made a quick turnaround there after checking out that amazing room and accommodations that we're really exceptionally happy with. We are now going to go do a hike. We're going to swing by the visitor center to see if they're open. According to what was Kyle, our little camp host person, or he said that they've had some odd hours. So we're going to see if they're open. If the visitor center for the national park is open, we'll stop there. Otherwise, we're just going to head on up to, what's the name of the falls?
Tantalian Falls.
Tantalian Falls. So here we go.
Thankfully, the visitor center was open because it started to rain just as we reached it. There wasn't much to see or do inside, so after gearing up for the rain, we hit the trail again. Tantalian Falls Trail is about 4 miles round trip. There are a few paths in this area, but they're mostly just out and backs. The trail begins along a road that is pretty rutted from ATV traffic, but turns into a footpath as you enter the park boundary. Visibility was a bit low for us due to the cloud cover, but there were still plenty of great views and scenery to take in as we made our way to the falls.
What you got there?
I don't know. We think it's tuna. It could be chicken.
Looks good.
It looks good either way.
Okay, we're not sure. We're still not sure. I think it's tuna. You're arguing for chicken, but here's the thing. It's fantastic. There's like cranberries and apples and walnuts, and it's nom nom nom,
it's delicious.
After lunch at the lower falls area, we climbed up to the top. We could tell there was a lot of water moving, but once we got closer, we could feel its power. After the falls, we headed out toward Contra Tribuna Lake. The park ranger we talked to at the visitor center said there was an unmaintained trail that ran the lake's entire bank, but our plan was just to check it out and turn around wherever we saw fit. We aren't sure how much distance this added, but it was well worth it.
Well, this is going to be the turnaround for our hike here, at least for the middle of the day. We need to get back to the lodge by 6 o'clock. That's when dinner is served. It's family style Alaskan is what the information said. Now, we're not hungry at all, in all honesty, from that amazing lunch that we had. However, we're also, based on that lunch, really excited to see what dinner is all about and what is served there. It's also where we make our lunch selections for tomorrow. So we don't want to miss that. So we've got a pretty good hike back out of here. Yeah, that's what we're getting to now. That is not a mushroom. That's a Smurf house. Oh my goodness, that thing is colossal.
Spanning over 4 million acres, the park is a vast expanse of towering mountains, crystal clear lakes, and diverse ecosystems. With over 2.6 million acres of designated wilderness, it provides a refuge for wildlife, including bears, moose, and salmon. Boasting more than 70 lakes and a coastline stretching over 60 miles, Lake Clark National Park offers unparalleled opportunities for outdoor adventures.
Well, dinner last night was absolutely amazing. We had ribs, mashed potatoes, corn, amazing dessert. Honestly, food has been impeccable, even for breakfast as well. Today, we are getting on another puddle jumper plane. We are heading up to Twin Lakes with a guide. Supposed to see an old cabin or historic cabin or something. Yeah, we're pretty excited about that. Here we go.
Our pilots on this trip were very professional, and it was clear they loved what they did and wanted to share their love for the area with their passengers. Jay mentioned he thought he saw a bear at one point, and before we knew it, the plane was sideways in an effort to grab a better view. We quickly realized it was a rock bear. Turns out the old cabin is kind of a big deal. In fact, there are books and a documentary about it and its builder, Dick Proenneke. We haven't checked any of those out yet, but are quite intrigued after seeing it and hearing about his life there from the park volunteer and our guide. After the cabin, we headed out for a little hike on the Teetering Rock Trail. Our guide was great, and we did enjoy the conversations along with an additional set of eyes for critters. We didn't really do anything that required a guide. While we appreciated the lodge's desire to provide the best experience, this wasn't a service that added value, and we didn't know when booking we could have opted out of it until talking to others at dinner.
Oh my goodness, that's totally good.
While waiting for our plane to pick us back up, we enjoyed lunch in Lakeside View. We even had a little campfire to warm and dry us out a bit thanks to our guide and his dry wood stash. The return flight was along the same route, but somehow looked different with the clouds and fog.
Well, there you go. Today really was a lovely day, in spite of the fact the weather tried to work against us again. The clouds just never cleared up, and it did rain / a drizzly rain all day. For lunch, we had ham sandwiches with jalapenos, some chips, another fantastic lunch.
Yes.
We're back. We've had some time to dry out.
Uh-huh.
I do want to add, this is not actually the original trip that we had planned for this location.
No.
But looking at weather, we tried to make some last minute changes. We're thankful we did.
And they worked with us to do it.
Yeah,
so,
they worked
yes.
with us to do it and adapted really, really well
Yes.
to that request as well. So originally we were going to fly in on the same day,
Yep.
but they were going to immediately take us back out to the area you just saw up at
Yes.
Twin Lakes. We were going to backpack and camp out in that area, and then they were going to pick us up in the morning and come back for what would be a lodge night tonight.
Correct.
When we saw the weather, we've just gotten a little beat up of being
Yes.
wet. And one of the things we learned in Kobuk Valley, if you've seen that video, if not, over Alana's head, we just didn't really
The rain and the
enjoy
small tent,
our
it just-
time.
no.
Yeah, trying to manage keeping our gear dry so that we
Yep.
could handle a 20-degree drop at night.
Yes.
And into a range that with moisture, hypothermia is a very real thing.
Yeah.
So we kept ourselves dry and everything went just fine. But in order to do that, we didn't explore as much as we would have liked in that rain. And it just sort of loomed with concern.
Right.
So when we came here, we knew the weather was going to be very much the same. We
Yep.
thought, hey, wonder if we can just turn this into 2 lodge nights.
Yes.
And even on a Sunday, and even with the people that are planning it for us, navigating a family wedding, they still made changes
Yes.
for us, and we're really happy for
Yep.
it. Top-notch pilots, top-notch
Yes.
food, top-notch time so far.
Yep.
But it is time for dinner, and then we leave in the morning.
Yes.
We had the same pilot and plane for our trip back to Anchorage, but we had a very different flight path and views that left us awestruck.
Well, I don't know if any of that epic scenery was stable enough to share.
Woo.
I sure hope it was. I tried. It was pretty rowdy up there,
Yep.
but honestly, that was probably the most beautiful and fun flight,
Yes.
not only of this trip, but any that we have ever been on. It
Yep.
was absolutely stunning with the glaciers and the animal, the wildlife. We were flying at just a few hundred feet, and it was really pretty epic. Frankly, what an amazing exclamation
Yes.
point to put on this destination and
Yep.
trip. But we're not done.
No.
We are now moving on to Wrangell or Wrangled. We've heard it a couple
St.
of different
Elias,
ways. St.
whichever way we
Elias for our 8 of 8 national
Yes.
parks. That'll be next week for you. Hopefully we see you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.